This is Mike with Riding in the Ozarks, and today we're talking about the Honda Rebel 1100 that's being released in January of 2021.
No key, got the game on lock, ayy. Big threes when I take my shot, ayy. On the rise and we ain't gon' drop on the. Ayy, we gotta get it, gotta get up, gotta go, we gotta get it. Ayy, they won't forget us. Made it happen and we all became legends. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it.
Introducing the all-new 2021 Rebel 1100 from Honda.
Let's see how this bike compares to the current Harley Davidson IRON 1200 Sportster. We don't know for sure if the current Sportster line will even be released in 2021. There's a new CEO at the helm in 2020, and he's trying to rewire Harley Davidson and lead the company to become the most desirable motorcycle brand in the world. The aging Sportster will not be available in 2021 in the European markets, since Harley's decided to not update the bike to meet the new Euro 5 standards. There are indications Harley is going to drop a 1250cc model in the future, designed around the new Revolution engine, but we have no details on which markets and when it will be available. So, for now, we're going to compare the Rebel to the 1200 Iron, because to me, that looks like the closest bike in the Harley lineup to the new Rebel. Honda is releasing this brand new cruiser during a time when Harley Davidson is struggling to connect with new and younger riders. Honda may be hitting this one out of the park based on the timing of this release and how things are going for Harley in the current global market. We need to remember Harley is a global company, and we can't just look at what's affecting them from a US perspective. Honda's new cruiser is more technologically advanced and starts at a lower price point. Now granted, the Rebel 1100 comes with a new powerful version of the Africa twin engine that has a few less cc's than the 1200 Iron Sportster, but that doesn't mean a sacrifice in performance. Let's take a look at the specs and see how they match up. While having a smaller displacement, the Honda's parallel twin generates about the same torque and exceeds the horsepower of the Harley B twin by about 20% based on what I've been able to find online. Now the Rebel's not out yet, but there's quite a bit of information about it, and this motor is a modified version from an existing bike, so I think these estimates are pretty accurate. In fact, when you start looking at other aspects like cost, fuel capacity, weight, drivetrain, brakes, technology, the Honda is matching or outperforming the Sportster 1200 in all of them. Let's save cost till last, and we'll start with comparing some of these other aspects. The wheelbase is nearly identical between the two models, and Honda's fuel capacity barely exceeds that of the Sportster. So I think it's safe to assume the two bikes are pretty relative in size. But the Honda's curb weight comes in at 487 pounds. That's 77 pounds less than the Sportster. You know what else weighs 77 pounds? 100 cans of beer. Now, that kind of weight is a noticeable difference when you're riding a bike, or especially if you're trying to lift one that's been tipped over. Now granted, I've always felt a heavier bike felt more stable when you're dealing with the crosswinds and high winds off of large vehicles when you're riding on the interstates and highways. And it's also important to note that the Sportster does have a slightly lower seat height. It's 1.8 inches lower than the Rebel, so that might actually make it preferable to those riders that are vertically challenged. Let's talk about the transmission. The Sportster is belt drive with the same 5-speed transmission they've had for years. In fact, much of the Sportster is the same as it has been for years. On the other side of the coin, we have a chain drive with a 6-speed manual transmission, or if you want to drop $700 and take on 22 pounds of curb weight, you can get yourself a DCT model, which has multiple automatic modes, and there's a mode where you can do thumb shifting for those who prefer a more manual level of control. While the DCT may not be for everyone, I can see why this option is appealing to new and young riders, or maybe old riders who have arthritis, or a rider with a particular disability that makes operating a clutch or shifting difficult. Brakes. The Sportster has dual piston calipers front and rear. The Honda has 4 piston calipers in the front and comes with ABS standard. Did I mention ABS on the Harley? No, that's because it's an $800 add-on option. So let's touch on the technology in these two bikes. We'll start with the Sportster. It has... Alright, moving on to the Honda Rebel. It has multiple USB charging ports under the seat to take care of things like powering up GPS units. And catch this, it has wheelie control. Now granted, wheelie control is probably not something you actually want if you care about doing wheelies or burnouts, but the Rebel also has 4 riding modes, which includes a user programmable mode, along with the standard, sport, and rain mode. Oh yeah, and the Rebel comes with cruise control for those long highway rides, something that's still missing on the Sportster. Alright, it's time to get down to the brass tacks, the cost. The Harley Iron 1200 comes in at $10,000, and now that Harley has done away with the discounting programs, you can expect that price to be pretty firm. Then you need to tack on $800 more for ABS to make the Harley comparable to the Honda. Oh, did I mention that the Honda has all LED lighting all the way through the bike, and the Sportster only comes with LED indicators? So, you can spend $10,800 for the Harley and $9,300 for the Honda, saving you about $1,500, and you won't need to buy an LED headlight to see past your nose. Am I saying the Rebel is better than the Harley? No, because I haven't rode either bike, and that's always going to be a personal choice. But I would like to ride them both. So Ethan, if you're watching this and you get a new Rebel 1100 in at the shop, give me a call. I want to come down and check it out. Now, I've been called a Harley fanboy on this channel a few times, but truth be known, I started riding 30 years ago on the street with the 500 Shadow. I have a great deal of respect for Honda for their on and off-road vehicles. I own a Suzuki Dual Sport and 2 Harleys. So in truth, I'm a motorcycle fanboy who likes Harley. A lot. I might prefer the Rebel over the Sportster after riding one, but I sure do love the sound of that Harley V-twin and the torquey pull those motors are so well known for. And I know I can drop a few bucks in aftermarket parts and wake that engine up and probably have it as comparable to the power of the Africa Twin. Harleys are the most customizable bikes I've ever seen, but I can see how the Rebel might appeal to a new young rider that's not looking to buy a motorcycle that's an expression of their personality or to turn 2 wheels into a rolling piece of art. I do think Harley needs to bring more technology into the entry-level bikes, and things like ABS and LED lighting should be standard on all models. It's time for Harley to fix some of this stuff before they miss out on more new riders that go with a different brand and develop loyalty for a whole different company. Okay, so this is how I see things when I compare this new Honda Rebel 1100 to the current Harley Sportster Iron 1200. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of the new Rebel 1100 and if I got anything wrong in my comparison to the Sportster. I'm not a Sportster expert. Hey, if you want to support the channel, don't forget I now have a Patreon page and a merch store where you can buy hats like this, and there are links for the video products I use to make videos like this. It's all in the description down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you do that YouTube thing, check out the content on my channel, and if you dig it, you can hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to ring that bell to be notified the next time I drop a new video. And as always, thank you for your support, stay safe, and keep on riding.